Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Yes, we are in the forest. The sun is about to set. Why don't we go over there where there's a big mountain, watch the sunset together, and I'll explain how it came to be that I worked at Nord Keyboards for one day. Oh, look. So I guess it was about the year 2000 I contacted them first. At that time I was working as a bicycle mechanic and they didn't get back to me. The second time was about 2 years later and they were looking for a guy that could program DSPs, digital signal processors, and program Windows applications, neither of which I actually could do. And believe it or not, the second time around I got lucky and they did in fact call me in for an interview. So the offices for Nord Keyboards was and still is in central Stockholm on the island of Södermalm. So I got myself down there as quickly as I could and had an interview with the R&D manager, a guy whose name I can't remember unfortunately, but I do remember he was a really nice friendly bloke and he had a ponytail. After meeting the R&D boss, my second interview was with Hans Nordelius. The company gets his name from him. So it was an honour to talk to him and listen to him talking about the design philosophy of the company, his vision for the instruments. He was a real nice guy and he had a ponytail as well. I think we connected and quite liked each other. So I made my way home after the second interview and waited, and sure enough the telephone rang and they wanted me to come back the next day and work for one day together with the R&D team. That's right, work at the Clavia headquarters. This was like a dream come true for me. So a quick history lesson is in order. Nord Keyboards used to be called Clavia, but they changed their name and rebranded about 10 years ago. I use the terms interchangeably just to confuse you. So next day I show up bright and early, full of anticipation. Okay, let's see if we can find the path. I'll resume the story when we get to the top. Yeah. Whew. We made it for the sunset, guys. Perfect, perfect. So firstly, I was introduced to the development team. About 5 guys who had either ponytails or were bald. But what a super nice bunch of guys. They showed me around the labs. I got to see where they were programming code and pushing it over to these DSPs. And there was oscilloscopes everywhere and flashing lights. It was just like you would imagine a laboratory at Clavia to look like. And then they told me what my job was going to be for the day. They gave me the source code for the Nord Lead 2 and told me to look through it, paying special attention to the MIDI interface software and identify any potential issues that might lie in the code, and then describe a potential solution to fix those issues. This is pretty hardcore low-level C code, the like of which I hadn't really programmed before. But anyway, it sounded like a fun challenge at the same time, so I got stuck in. And they did say to me, I was about to do a bugger off then to a mosquito, maybe bugger off, bugger off, bugger off, bugger off. And they did say to me that if I wanted to, I could ask the team members for support, because they wanted to also test how well I collaborated with the rest of the team. So I spent a while looking at this code and trying to figure out the structure and where all these different components and functionality was. And I did identify the code that was doing the MIDI in and out. So I turned my attention to other parts of the code. I was pretty curious. I mean, this is a golden opportunity to look at the source code of one of my favorite ever synthesizers. And then of course I started asking for help and was given a clue. If I looked closely enough at this MIDI in code, then there was a problem there that you could potentially get a buffer overflow if too much data was coming in to the serial port at the same time, or something like that. And the poor old R&D boss, whose name I forget unfortunately, who was probably really fed up with me by this time because I've been pestering him all morning, was basically had to give me the solution to the problem, which I implemented, compiled the code, and that was the end of the exercise. So after lunch they called me into the office for the final decision. It was Hans Nordelius, the R&D boss with the ponytail, and a really nice developer that I bonded with quite a lot during the morning. His name was Björn. Oh look, another mushroom. Just kidding. So they start off by telling me how much the team has enjoyed working with me, which I find a bit hard to believe, because I've been pestering them all morning. Not just one of them, but all of them. I thought if I spread out the questions between the team, they wouldn't notice I was asking so many questions, but I got rumbled. They said my skills weren't up to the standard that they were looking for, which is totally correct, I would imagine. Bugger off! After delivering the verdict, begun the highlight of the day. They gave me a tour of their synthesizer museum. Guys, this was absolutely awesome. I could not believe my eyes. At the time, I was really into the Fender Rhodes, the Hammond organ, the vintage synthesizers, Prophet 5, Mini Moogs, okay, all that kind of stuff. And they had a room, maybe 20 meters by 10 meters, that was just stacked to the roof, all four walls, with every vintage synthesizer imaginable. A priceless collection of, there was half a dozen Hammond organs, Leslie speakers taken apart with probes attached to them, microphones and oscilloscopes buzzing away. It was fantastic. Fender Rhodes, you name them, they had every single model there in the shop. It's now getting towards twilight. We head down into the forest, into the darkness, and see if we can make our way home without getting lost. Okay, I am actually lost now, I have to admit. I don't have my phone with me, so there's no way I can call anybody, and I don't have my GPS either. I'm losing light as well. I don't really want to spend a night out in the forest. Perhaps, if you look over here, this path over there is, I think I'm going in the right direction according to where the sun's gone down. Let's head this way. I'm getting eaten by bloody mozzies as well all the time. Okay, let's go.